It absolutely does, and I'm surprised I'm sitting here saying this. Listen, I have been advocating for my friend Colin Kaepernick for the better part of 4 years, but I've also been very honest with the audience that I think it was right around 0% that he gets another chance. But those comments from Anthony Lynn, and then later in the day, the comments from the president, where he did not take the opportunity to torch Cap. He did not take the opportunity to torch the NFL for even the idea of signing Cap, even if the president's facts and history were a little wrong about Cap's career, as he is wont to do. He seemed open to it. And I think an enormous part of the reason Colin Kaepernick was not signed in 2017 or 2018 was because team owners were afraid of a mean tweet from the president. And I think they are less afraid of the mean tweets now because I think we've all become somewhat dulled to the tweets. But also, he doesn't seem as angry about it. He was 3.5 years ago, he was calling NFL players SOBs, and now he's like, well, if he's good enough to play, he should be able to play. So I am a little more optimistic, and I will put a finer point on it. I think my hometown team, the Kansas City Chiefs, should sign him. There are the list of reasons why it makes sense. In brief, one is there would never be a quarterback controversy. They got the best quarterback in football there. They need a competent backup quarterback. Last year, the Chiefs do not win the Super Bowl if they don't have a competent backup. Matt Moore came in for Patrick Mahomes in the Broncos game. They won it. Started the Vikings game, a playoff team. They won it, and that helped them get the bye, which led to the Super Bowl. Matt Moore has since retired, and if we can show the graphic, here's the Chiefs' current backup quarterback, what he's done in the last 5 years. I mean, that's his last 5 years compared to Cap's last 5 years. So you can say Cap's rusty. Chad Henne seems pretty rusty to me as well. And Wilds, the last reason that I would say it's a perfect fit for Kansas City is think about who the head coach is. Think about the last former star quarterback who had a long time away from football, Michael Vick. Now, our friend Michael had to be away from football for, unfortunately, far more nefarious reasons than Cap, but the delay was about the same. And Andy Reid, Brian's former coach, takes him under his wing, and after a year of being a backup in the system, he had a spectacular season, 3 years removed from his last year in Atlanta. So, Wilds, it's not only that I think the door is out for the first time in forever, slightly ajar to Cap being signed, I think the Chiefs should do it.
Just a quick question back to you, Nick. When you say slightly ajar, I've been optimistic this whole time. I think the tailwinds are with Kaepernick now. I don't feel like there's any real headwinds. I think that has changed. I think the momentum is with Cap. I think the national conversation has changed. I think there's been a national reckoning and a realization that he was right. But when you say the door is slightly open or ajar, are you actually, would you consider yourself optimistic at this point, or would you still classify yourself as pessimistic?
Well, listen, you're right, Wilds. You've been optimistic about this, I would say, over the last few weeks. I was putting it at around 0%. The fact that now I think it's 10 to 15% makes me optimistic. Now, that also means I think it's 85 to 90% it doesn't happen. But I am like Brian, given what the president said, Anthony Lynn said, and where the conversation is going, are you even potentially more optimistic than I am, Brian, that Cap could end up on a team this year?
I definitely am a little bit more optimistic, Nick. And because of the comments of the president, Anthony Lynn, and Roger Goodell, I think at this point, teams have the ability to judge Kaepernick on his ability, his talents on the field, and not just the kneeling situation. And when you think back to before Cap got, blackballed from the NFL, they were judging him not what he can do on the field, but what he was doing as far as the protest, his kneeling. And now teams can say, you know what, let's just look at his talents. Let's see if he can fit in our offense. Let's see if he can find a way and is good enough to play for us. And I think that's a great thing for Colin Kaepernick. This is what I know. The last time we saw Colin Kaepernick play in 2016, he had 16 interceptions and four interceptions and 16 touchdowns. And that's a great thing. That's probably a lot better numbers than many of the backup quarterbacks in the NFL right now. And I think that's a good thing. Think about the locker room, though. Think about the locker room that a team owner, a team coach could bring Colin Kaepernick into, and the feeling of togetherness that Colin Kaepernick can bring into a locker room. To me, as a player, I would be rooting for Colin Kaepernick, especially if I have a backup quarterback that I don't have as strong feelings about. To me, this is a great move for any team. The only thing I would say if I was Colin Kaepernick is this. I'm tired of hearing that I'm a good fit. I'm tired of hearing that I can play. At this point, I want to hear my phone ringing saying, come in and work out. Come in and try out so that you can show me what you can do. I don't want to hear any more talk. I want to hear the phone ringing saying, come in and work out.
But the fit is an interesting topic because a couple years ago, a lot of the coaches are saying, well, he doesn't really fit into our style. The Chargers came out yesterday, Anthony Lynn, and said he would fit into an offense like ours. So let's just talk about that for a second. What do you think about Chargers specifically, Nick? Does he fit that style, and could he now fit in any offense in the league?
So I think it's a really interesting question, Jenna, because you're right. If people tried to act like there were football reasons that Cap was out of the league, and I'll go through the list quickly and why they don't apply right now. One of them was the pseudo-football reason of, and well, we'll start with this. One of them was our starter doesn't play his style. Well, now you've got a third of the league whose starters play his style. That's 10 teams who, as we've moved more towards not college-based, but kind of college-centric offenses, a third of the league has dual-threat quarterbacks without necessarily all of them. The Chiefs, is, for example, having Chad Henne as the backup, without a dual-threat backup. So that's one of the alleged football reasons. Another one of the alleged football reasons was, well, listen, Cap's a starter, so bringing him to be a backup could be tough. 3 years out of football, and nobody is arguing Cap is a starter right now. Another one of the alleged football reasons was a polarizing locker room presence and or he's going to bring added media distraction or attention. When we're in a situation where Kyler Murray is saying he's kneeling, Baker is saying he's kneeling, J.J. Watt has opened up the door to kneeling, every team is going to be having the kneeling conversation. So Colin could almost, I think, be a calming force within that locker room. So Wilds, for those reasons, and maybe most notably the fit reasons, there's a lot of teams that could use him as a backup quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. Jeremy Fowler said he talked to some NFL executives. He put Titans on the list, too. Brian, I've got a question to you about fit, and it's about Tom Brady. So Tom Brady left an inside-out offense, very conservative, get rid of the ball, and he went to Tampa Bay, and that offense doesn't fit him on paper. So when people are looking at Cap, are they saying how important is the actual fit? When you saw Brady, the sort of mindset around Brady was just like, he's a great player, let's get him in and we'll make it work.
Yeah, I said when people are talking about the fit, of course, you want a guy. I mean, if you have an offense that the quarterback's going to be a pocket quarterback, he's going to stand in the pocket, deliver the ball, 5-step drop, 7-step drop, throw the ball out, then, I think a lot of people are saying Kaepernick can't fit that. I just don't believe that. I still think he can do a 5-step drop. I still think he can do a 7-step drop and be very effective. The one thing that Colin Kaepernick can bring you that a lot of those other quarterbacks that are going to stand tall in the pocket and deliver the football is his ability to run the ball. Now, just think about if you even have this statue quarterback that's going to stand in the pocket and throw the football and he gets hurt, the quarterback that I would want to come in that's coming off the bench who may be a little bit cold, hasn't thrown a pass in a very long time, is a guy that can run the football because now he can use his legs to go win us a football game. Because at that point, it's not about kneeling. It's not about the protest. It's about winning football games. And a guy that can run the football and use his legs, be a dual-threat quarterback like Colin Kaepernick, certainly is a guy that I would want on the field in a time where I'm trying to win a football game.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.